Hey, here we are again, team. Great to have you on board. Brendan here from Markham, and I'm joined again by Hayden from the New Zealand office and Alex from Australia. We're from the Markham team, and we're having a quick discussion today on the British Standard 8102, continuing a series revolving around basic waterproofing in New Zealand and Australia. We think it's a section of the construction industry which could see some improvement. Hayden, please introduce yourself and talk to us about early stage integration of waterproofing in a basement design.
Welcome all, and thanks for listening. Cheers, Brendan. Yeah, so I've been involved with Markham for circa 10 years. Very passionate about construction, but concrete focused, obviously. Early stage integration is very, very important, to be honest. I don't know how many times you see it, Alex, but the building gets so far through design, structural or architectural design, a lot of documentation underway, and someone's like, okay, what are we doing about waterproofing? And at that point, it's you've probably gone too far, and we want to change people's thinking on that. I think as an industry, we want to get some awareness out there to make sure it's early. Get heads around the table early. It's not about. I always push the point. It's not about a contractual engagement at this point. It's about thinking about the project as a whole.
What does it need?
100%. What it needs. What success? What are we trying to? What grade of basement are we trying to get? What's our waterproofing? And then start going through the process of design. But don't know if you got some thoughts on that, Alex, from what you see?
Yeah, no, I do. Alex head up the business development for the Australian team of Markham. Been with the company for going on 6 and a bit years now, so it's been really good to see us grow within the space and start becoming a voice of reason out there as well. What I do find a lot of is when you're speaking to an architect or the like, it's we've just designed a wet basement. It's just going to be a wet basement. We'll put a spoon drain in. We'll let the water drain out somewhere. Well, that water's got to go somewhere. Council regulations are now getting tighter on pumping water out. Not to mention allowing moisture to pass through your structure. I mean, that's the first line of deterioration right there. Not to mention once that moisture's in that space, it can travel up through the spaces above and start to create ongoing issues within the living spaces of, let's say, an apartment building. So there's got to be a lot more emphasis put on the space, what its intended purpose is for, and how we can, extend the life cycle of this structure with minimal, ongoing issues.
Yeah. And that's probably not thought about early enough.
No, definitely.
Like what's ongoing. For example, will they have a building beside it in 5 years that's got a basement? Will that change water levels, etc.? And these things all need to be thought about at early stage, and I think that's why early stage integration is huge. It's very important. It's not just about getting that project done and out of the ground. It's about the long term effects. Like Alex was saying, I think it's good. Like, are you just allowing moisture in, and where does it go from there?
Yeah,
it's not. We need to change the thinking. We need to just stop and have a thought about this. Who else should be involved in these decisions? If you know what I mean. Like, is it if I'm an architect sitting here, who else do I need to get around the table, Alex?
Yeah. I mean, look, you've got your geotech reports, you've got your structural engineers, you've got third-party consultants as well. I mean, there's a whole group, a whole list of people that can collaborate to ensure the best result for a project moving forward. Just touching on geotech reports as well, it's quite funny with the length that it takes to get a project into a planning stage. A lot of the time they're done quite early to submit it to start getting your certificates, etc. I don't often see a secondary report being done either. So within that time, I mean, water levels can change. So where you were, quote unquote, designing to halfway through your level one, it could well be up to your capping beam now, and effectively your project's in a hole of water, and that may or may not be considered. I mean, what do you do next?
Absolutely, we've seen that. We've seen that happen. Building comes through, gets resource consent, gets DA, and then sits there for years.
Yeah.
And then it gets underway. So yeah, very valid point. I think another party is important is the actual waterproofers themselves to be involved. Who's going to do the installing?
Yeah.
And the builders. Get everyone on board. You might not have an engaged contractually, but get input. and say, if we did it like this, would
Yeah.
this work? You know, this is our conditions, this is the soil, this is the groundwater, this is the contamination, whatever, this is how we want to build it, this is the design. Will this work? And have those discussions.
You can relate it to Lego, really. If you get a new box of Lego and just have to build it off the picture, you might miss a few steps and it doesn't go together right. So
yeah, I mean, it'll still perform, but it'll
Yeah.
let
you down somewhere.
100%.
That's great. Yeah, we don't want any missing pieces. Yeah, we talked in previous episodes about, or previous segments about the British Standard 8102. It's got a great leading diagram in there somewhere. I think it's a design flowchart, if that recollect correctly. Do you remember the design process and where waterproofing assessment sits in that diagram?
Yeah, that's good. I think it's figure 1. It's quite early on in the standard, but really that is it's a brilliant flow chart of a framework, really a guide to what everything that needs to happen to get the best outcome. And what surprises you as you work through that is a large portion of the work is up front, up early, and it's this early inputs that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of study, desktop time. It's a lot of site conditions. It's a lot of planning ahead of what's happening in the future, you know, on the site, etc. But it's also the continuity of waterproofing. That's what happens if it goes wrong. What's the remedial processes? All these type of things should be well up there early. No, it's a good framework, and that's before you get to any structural considerations, etc. It's all this early work that's needed.
Almost like what's good look like, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's successful?
So that probably leads us to the flip side of the coin as to what happens when you don't do it. You don't want to share any actual anecdotes, or I heard somebody say years ago, if you're talking to a waterproofing contractor asking about the project that went wrong, he'll always have one.
Yeah. It is one of those things that why think about remediating it after the fact? Let's put some things in place to avoid that. You know, we are working with concrete in a lot of these cases, and you know, there's no guarantees. I mean, we've got standards for placement, etc., but things can go wrong. Even if you do the right thing and the right steps, and that's just unfortunate. But if you're going to do nothing, you know, you're then really opening yourself up for failure. And most of the time, once it's been done, once it's been built, once it's been handed over, and you know, Mr. Apartment owner, you know, has all his stuff in his little storage cage destroyed, and he starts, you know, asking questions about who's covering what. All this could have potentially been avoided, you know, by potential better design or whatever it might be. It's going to cost a lot more to rectify the situation after the fact than it is to design it in and do it better at the start.
Yeah, there's a few things running through my mind. The amount, what's I always interested in is the amount that people have aside almost to hit remedials. Like, why do we budget
to fix
to make mistakes? It's quite a strange methodology. If you run it through anything else in your life, you don't say, you know, I'll get to this extent and I'll save some money to fix it up later. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's quite a backwards approach. But so there's that. You know, why don't we get that right up front? And then, but also what you said before, it sort of resonated with me. We see moisture come in, we rectify that. We internally it looks dry, but what's happening to the structure? And as the water still gets into that concrete, okay, we've blocked it coming right through, but it's probably still getting to your reinforcement steel. It's still getting to some of the elements that are needed to hold the structure up.
Yeah.
And is that going to bring on sort of premature deterioration and corrosion?
Exactly right. And then you've got your different geographic locations. I mean, if you're building in sand, you know, chloride ingress is elevated, which means that your deterioration levels are spiked, which means your structure, you know, potentially fails quicker. So they're all major factors that contribute to the life cycle of a building. And you know, we all know that design lives are there, and we want to make sure that they are implemented as such.
Yeah, one other thing I think we need to be more clear on as an industry is what level of waterproofing or what grade of waterproofing we're designing to. Because it's one thing to sit around and say at the start, yeah, we're going to build a basement, we're going to keep water out. Agree, there might be some ingress, etc. And then we sell the apartments. I'm talking about that type of development at the moment. Sell the apartments. The apartment owners come in, they're nice cars and seawater, and straight to the landlord. What's going on with my basement? I paid for this.
Yeah.
Do we still agree? At that point, what we're allowed? But generally, at that time, massive disruption.
Yes.
A loss of reputation, a loss of brand, and these things that don't get considered, and that's why I would probably put that in as the cost of late stage waterproofing decisions as well.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, that's excellent. Very good. We do have some other material on this topic. Don't forget to have a look at our Invisible Strength media site. And we'll push on with the fourth segment in this series very soon. Thank you very much.
Markham, adding life to concrete.